Instagram Live. What's going on? All right. Wait for some folks to join. I don't know why I feel nervous. I shouldn't be feeling nervous right now. I'm talking to a good friend. What's going on? What's going on? Yes. We have a new episode of Jabari Advocates. On this episode, it is called Master of Light. And we are talking to the one and only Leon Mitchell. So before we start, we need to get at least 5. Let's get to 5 viewers before we start, just so that Leon feels welcomed and we have an audience. So what's up, Leon? I see you just joined. I'll bring you in a second. So make sure that... What's going on, Brian? Thank you for watching. Master of Light with Leon Mitchell. Gaffer, producer, director extraordinaire. But before we start, we need to get to at least 5 consistent viewers, and then we'll start the interview. What's going on, Spencer? Appreciate you for joining. So yeah, we're going to get to about 5 consistent viewers before I bring Leon on. So please share with your friends, fellow colleagues, creatives who can value this conversation. You know, that's what it's all about. So yeah, please help us get to at least 2 more. Well, let's say 3 more, because that one of those 5 would be Leon. So let's get to 5 viewers, please share to any of your colleagues who are live, who are on Instagram right now. Their status says they're on. Please, so we can start our program. Let's see. And please stay on. Don't leave. We'll start shortly. How's the music? Can you all hear the music? Is it at a decent volume? Does it overpower my voice? Let me know. This is just to kind of get the vibes right, set the mood on this Saturday morning. But yeah, Jabari Advocates is a platform that I created really to empower, support, and promote creatives near and far. You know, on my journey as a creative, I couldn't have got to this point without the support of my mentors, my colleagues, and I'm aware that not everybody... What's going on, Ben? Thank you for joining. All right, bet we are at 5. Let's get 1 more person in, and then we'll start. Please stay on. Do not leave. We just want to make Leon feel welcome, having our viewers up. So as soon as we get to 6, I will invite Leon on. So please stay on. What's up? Thank you, everybody. Samia, Tahira, thank you for joining. Appreciate you. This is going to be a very interesting episode. You know, I'm excited to hear from Leon and all of his great accomplishments since we last. All right, bet. We have Ricky P. Appreciate you, Ricky. So what's going on, Jules? Appreciate you for popping in. All right, we've reached our quota, so I'm going to bring Leon in. All right, bet. Wagwan.
Hello,
Yes,
hello.
sir. Leon.
How are you, my
Going
friend?
on, sir? My good sir. I'm doing good, man. Long time, man.
Honestly, I
How's
can't
everything
complain.
been?
I can't complain. Don't mind my vape, my
Yes,
vapor.
sir. Yeah, I'm like, that's cool. That's like haze,
Yeah,
when we were on set, we had that
get the
haze
light
and got the
raises.
nice backlight going on. I see what you're doing. Yeah, I see what you're doing, man. Well, definitely appreciate you for tuning in. So again, folks, this is Jabari Advocates. On this episode, we have the one and only Leon Mitchell. Come on, y'all. Like Leon is that guy. Like I met Leon. What's going on, Kia? How you doing? How you doing? Appreciate you for tuning in. So so we have Leon Mitchell, who is a DMV based gaffer. I mean, you've probably seen Leon all over, man. Like Leon's on set, Leon's doing music videos, he's doing TV shows, like he's that guy. So it's only right for our second official episode that we bring on Leon. I met Leon back in 2019 working with
Hmm.
the wonderful Miss Kia Hicks Freeman. We did a reality TV show, and it was amazing. And I had a good time, and it was like one of my first experiences, like working with like a big, like a big set. We had a gaffer, we had our DP, cam ops, like really cool experience, and Leon, like he was a really cool guy, like he was willing to share
Awesome.
game with me, share information with me. So I will always be grateful for that opportunity. So again, we have
Hey
Leon
man,
Mitchell,
thank you
man.
for
What's going
having
on,
me. And
Leon?
I think this is super dope that you do this, and keeping everyone informed on what's going on. I hope you can hear me fine.
hmm Yeah, can we hear Leon? How's our audio?
We,
Just give me a thumbs
we,
up, somebody.
we
Just
gotta
I just
get
want
we
to
gotta
know
get
we're all good to
Ben
go
doing the
before we
audio in
proceed.
here.
Yo, Ben, shout out to Ben. So Ben, we did an episode together 2 weekends ago. It was the journey of a production sound mixer. Ben is our guy, production sound mixer here based in the DMV area. Big shout out to him. But again, on this episode, it's called Master of Light. So again, we have Leon, who is a gaffer, but he also is a producer. He's a director. Like he's done it all. You know what I'm saying? But today we want to definitely highlight his journey as a gaffer, how he got involved in the industry, just kind of some of his stories and all that. So like we could just kick things off, man, and just really what is a gaffer? Because we have an audience that ranges. So like what is a
Um,
gaffer and like what are
so
their
as a
duties on set?
gaffer, my job more so is to light the scenes that come on, during the set. And they could be big sets, small sets. It doesn't really matter, but I usually just handle lighting. And I work hand in hand with the key grip to give the image of what our DP desires. So they'll usually like dictate like, hey, we're going for this kind of feel, this kind of contrast, maybe have a light here, have a light there, but this is the look we're trying to go for. And yeah, we make that happen using lights and using shadows, which is a lot of negative fill. Um, but yeah, that's generally our job on set.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I remember back in 2019 when we were working with
Shout out to Kia.
Miss Kia, and yeah, definitely shout out. And actually working with you was this was back in 2019, so this was a year after I graduated from Delaware State University. Also, Mrs. Kia's alma mater. Shout out to Dell State. And it was my first introduction to even like something as simple as like the sterile light tubes, like we were like setting up like an interview scene, and I saw you had like rigged up the sterile light tubes to like the ceiling, and I was like, yo, like this is like new to me. Like I'm used to like the
Hmm.
little Drake-cast, light panels. So just to kind of give a quick background, I went to school for TV production. I did not go to school for film production. And I feel like that's kind of like a similar sentiment that most people in the DMV area, some are learning. YouTube. Shout out to YouTube University. Shout out to even something as simple as have like a mentor like Leon to just show you the way and just give you that game. So can you kind of talk about like maybe your experience, how you got into like film? Did you go to film school? Did you
So I've
not? Like,
actually
what
been
was
doing
that experience
film
for you?
and just like video stuff for since I was probably like in the eighth grade, with a friend of mine doing like little YouTube videos and around the neighborhood and whatnot. And shout out to my friend Dane Vicaria, who kind of introduced me to the whole thing. And once I like really got into it, I knew that's like what I wanted to do. And then from there, high school did TV productions, and I actually did go to school. I went to a school called Full Sail University, out in Florida, and I did their accelerated program because I knew I just wasn't like the best at school, I guess. Like I knew I didn't want to do like the traditional like sit in the classroom all day and everything, and I just wanted to just full on dive into it. And my mom brought me a pamphlet one day. It was like, yeah, you should check out, Full Sail and whatnot. So yeah, I ended up going down there and doing their orientation, fell in love with it. And I was like, yeah, this is it. This is where I'm gonna go. And,
Yeah,
mhm,
you were down in Florida, right? Like that warm weather. Like I can imagine that like it was a lot easier to film,
mhm,
having that consistent weather. You could film indoors, you could film
mhm.
outdoors. I'm pretty sure you filmed at the beach at sometimes. Like kind of tell me that like because I know you're based in the DMV area, you're from the DMV. So kind of like talk about that shift of being like, in the mid-Atlantic, having these like harsh extremes, like, in the DC specifically, it could be like super hot one day and then like super cold, but like you were down in Florida, in that nice weather. So how was that like transition for you,
So
being up here and then going down to Florida?
the transition wasn't like super crazy. I had to get used to it being hot because it would be like really, really hot. I was in Orlando where it's like very swampy and you're like in the middle, so there's no like beaches around. So it got like real humid and it rained every day at 1 o'clock. So it was like stuff like that was like
Mm-hmm.
different. Florida has a lot of weird stuff that goes on with it just in general.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, down there, funny enough, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't actually start off doing lights in Florida. I was doing
Oh wow.
uh like of course everyone wants to direct and produce and whatnot, but my way in school I was the sound guy. I was doing yeah, I did sound and
Okay.
at
You
Full
did
Sail.
sound?
I
Oh
was the sound guy,
man.
and
Okay.
hey, it's my mom's in here, but
Okay. Okay. Yo, shout out to moms. Really, really quick. Let's give a quick shout out to everybody that's on. Definitely shout out to all the HBCUs. I see the love. Shout out Bowie, Howard, HU. What's up? DSU, of course, man. Oh yeah, especially definitely shout
yeah,
out to Full Sail. I see
yeah. Me and
Cal.
Kyle go way back.
He's in the chat.
Kyle
You know
still
what I'm
takes care.
saying? What
Kyle still takes care of
for
me
sure.
to
He
this day.
said man, shout out to Kyle, shout out to Red Star, shout out to the whole fam, man. So Kyle says, as a gaffer, his job is to call. So as a gaffer, his job is to call Kyle and beat him up on price
Yeah,
for some
yeah, definitely gotta get this.
extras.
Yeah, anything
Smiley
from
face.
Kyle. Kyle's definitely the guy I have to call and be like, "Hey, bro, I need that 60% discount or something.
Yeah.
I need help me make this movie work."
Yeah, and I also just want to just continue to, just the shout out train. Shout out to my guy David. Okay, what's going on?
Oh
Ricky
yeah, just
Pete. We got
work with
Odello in the
Othello.
house. What's up, Odello? We got okay, shout out. Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher everybody's account names, but I'll just, just give a shout out. If you know, you know. DC Media Academy, shout out to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Definitely shout out to mom. I see mom showing love. She said, "My baby, I'm so proud of you." Trust me, I definitely resonate with that. My parents have been like super supportive on this journey, and just to kind of shift gears, we are in kind of like I don't want to say unorthodox, but like we kind of are in a very untraditional career path. So, most parents, are wanting their kids to like have jobs,
hmm
job security and, working in, either in the government or, just having like job security. So like, was there ever a point, you don't have to get too personal, but was there ever a point where like maybe you had family members or just people that didn't see the value and wanting to, essentially make movies and films for a living or and
Like,
television shows for a living? Like, did you ever
I feel
have that
like
kind of
like
resistance from
everyone
your
around
loved
me
ones?
was actually like really supportive. I do think like there was always that pressure
Yeah.
where like of course like my mom and dad were always like you need to have something like stable like while you figure out this journey and
Yeah.
whatnot. But like they was my yeah, everyone around me was like real supportive. Like my sister was supportive. Like um everybody was like supportive. Like they just knew that this is what I really wanted to do, and being in the film. And what also helped me make that transition because freelancing can be hard. Like you gotta worry about bills and things like that, and when your next job is coming. But
Tell me about it.
what helped me make that transition was working at the Washington Source, um, which is now known as Red Star.
Okay.
Um, yep.
Shout out to them.
I worked there, and from there, I was just like, that's how I got into doing lights. Like, it was my way to, I wanted to produce, of course, but then, it's like, how can I get on set? Like, what can I do on set to be valuable and I can learn everything? And Mike Wilson was one of the first people to tell me, like, oh, yeah, you can do lighting, you can be around everybody, yeah, and whatnot. So Mike Wilson started showing me the ropes of doing
sure.
lights, and him and Wes Sullivan and people like that. And then, from there, he brought me on different sets and whatnot. And then whenever someone would come into the Source, I would just, no matter what they rented, I would ask them if they needed help on set. So a lot of times they say no, but then, a lot of times people say yeah.
Yo, so I wanna pause right there, y'all. So pretty much what Leon is saying, man, you gotta always shoot your shot, man. You gotta put yourself in position to advocate for yourself, being in the right place, really at the right time. And I kind of equate it to dating, like, for those who are dating, like, when you're meeting someone, a person that you're interested in courting, like, of course you're not gonna hit it off with everybody. Like, not everybody's gonna be in alignment or, be on your time, but you gotta just have that resilience. And like Leon said, like, sometimes people might have said, yeah, come on. And sometimes people might have been like, nah, not on this one. So like, kind of talk about like preparing yourself for that, like being able to like not only advocate for yourself on set or, prior to being on set, but like that rejection aspect. Like, how do you typically kind of go about navigating, like, shooting your shot and then potentially maybe getting rejected,
I never really had
a
a real problem with like shooting my shot with anything, like work or talking to someone. Like, I'm the type of person that I'm gonna go up and say something to you, so at least say what's up, how you doing. But yeah, there's been plenty of times when people have definitely just told me like, no, we're okay, we don't need anything, like that. But then I didn't, take it to heart or anything like that. I just, kept trugging. One person say no, someone else is going to say yes eventually. And then as I did continue to get on sets, eventually I felt more comfortable and felt more like I can bring value. And I felt like at some point it just like kind of clicked where I just felt like, okay, I'm pretty sure I can do whatever you're asking for.
For sure. And I think that's really important because I think it's always that, like, I think it's like just like a running joke where, like, even like in television or just, just like, it's always that guy like, yo, put me on, man. Like, yo, I see what you're doing, man. But like, they're not, like you said, they're not providing that value. So like, kind of talk about like, what are like if, for instance, if someone is watching this and they're interested in not only being in our field, but they want to be a gaffer, like, what would you say are like the top, let's say 3 like skills that are imperative to have, I guess, like outside of like the technical skills, like what are some 3 like characteristics that you would say a person should have if they want to like get into gaffing and just kind of being, more marketable?
I would say be able to take critique, because a lot of times, when you go on set, I feel like, you might have an idea, especially as a gaffer, you'll have an idea of like how something should be lit, but the DP might have like a totally different idea. And sometimes like DPs might be more experienced at lighting something than me. You know what I'm saying? So then I'll just, so I have to sit back and be like, okay, I understand, well, why you did it that way. And it's more so like you want to just get that understanding of why someone does something the way they do it versus just, not saying that your way was going to be wrong, but you just want to know, I just want to know why someone lit something a certain way, or was it a certain feel, or if it was a certain I don't know, like a feel or a mood that they was going for, or that it's maybe just like it was because they didn't do it that way because it's a time efficiency thing. So there's like multiple different reasons why someone would do something. I would say that's one, and then maybe let's see, critiquing. I would say being able just to be staying on your feet, being able to pivot is a good time, especially like when you're first getting started and you're doing a lot of like lower budget things. Things aren't really like planned out like the way they should be. So you got to be able to
Mm-hmm.
pivot. So sometimes you might not be able to make the scene as great
Mm-hmm.
as you can because it might slow production down. So you got to like, just
Mm-hmm.
do the basic whatever so you can make your day and not send people into overtime or
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I'll say pivoting. And then the last
Mm-hmm.
one, um, oh, so there was a one gaffer who told me, he was like, when you go on set, be willing just to learn one thing a day. So if you learn one thing a day and just don't forget it, no matter, like, you get thrown a lot of information every day, right? But if you learn one thing a day and just remember that one
Mm-hmm.
thing every time you're on set, then but before you know it, you know everything.
That's great. So three things he said: you got to accept the criticism, be open to that. Secondly, you got to be able to be pivotal. You got to pivot. You got to be adaptable. And third, you got to remember,
Yeah.
not remember, but learn something new a day. Like that compound. That compound. I think it's like just like a math equation or whatever. Like when things kind of compound, like you can make one gain a day over time. Like it'll lead to like a big reward. So that's amazing. So I wanted to shift gears really quick because
Oh,
I
wow.
want to give you your flowers, man. Like give you your flowers, Leon, and just kind of highlight some of the notable projects that you've been a part of. As far as like IMDb. So you got Jason
I,
Bourne. What? You
mm-hmm.
were on
Thanks to
Jason
Wes
Bourne?
Sullivan.
That's
Yep.
crazy. Jackie, Jackie, you know what I'm saying? Sinners Wanted, that was
Shout
a
out
great
to Jimmy
production.
and Kia.
And the list
I
goes
said
on.
shout out to
I see
Jimmy and
that.
Kia for
Say it
bringing
again.
me on that. That was actually the first thing I got to
Oh,
associate produce
yes.
like full on besides All In. And both of them took a chance on me to let me be a part of that production and whatnot. So thank you.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. Tell me about Sinners
Mhm.
Wanted. How was that production for you? Like, just kind of like in your best way. Just kind of like just give us that picture of that
Um,
production and maybe some of the things that you
Centers
gained
wanted
from it.
it. So the great thing about Centers wanted, like everyone felt like a family more so, and everybody came together because it wasn't really like a huge budget to do it. So everyone kind of came together just to try to get the project done. And that was the first time where I could see where it didn't feel like a job more so. You know what I mean? Like everyone really felt like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna just put this time in just to make it work. That's one of those projects where I was like, okay, we got to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
um, I feel like that was probably
For
the
sure.
community, and that was just like my biggest takeaway from there. Like everyone on that project was so
Mm-hmm.
great. I was in charge of like I got all the gear, hired all the crew. That was like my really first time really like getting in the producer field. Funny enough, I didn't actually gaff that.
Mm-hmm.
Devin McVeigh gaffed
Oh,
that.
wow. Mm-hmm. Definitely. So I got the IMDb
Mm-hmm.
credits out. So we had Clifton Powell, OG, when it comes to acting. Lamar Rucker, we had Nazir Raheem. Like we had a lot of like, established black actors and actresses a part of this production. As you mentioned, we had director,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Jenkins and Joshua Jenkins, like amazing. Like, these are people that I look up to, man. So like did you kind of feel like starstruck, when you saw Clifton Powell, you probably remember him from like the movies,
Right.
the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
movies that we grew up watching. So like was it like a starstruck moment for you when you
So
met
So I found out
those
honestly,
actors?
I don't get super starstruck. I think it's more so too. Clifton Powell was definitely a moment where I was like, oh yeah, I seen you on TV. Like I used to watch you growing up for sure. But for
Yeah, Pinky from
for Friday movies,
what was it,
yep.
next Friday?
But
Friday after next?
I don't know, like even doing like I feel like the only time like I actually really got like stars, like I was starstruck, but it's more so because I was nervous and I really had to actually do something on set. Was I worked on Jackie uh, with
Yeah, talk
so
about it, man. Talk about it.
I think it was Murdoch who was gaffing on that project when they came into DC, and he brought me on, and he was like, it was like this was my first big set, first time my name was in the credits in a movie theater or anything like that, and And
Natalie Portman,
Murdoch
come
was
on
like,
now, like that's
Murdoch told me,
crazy.
he was like, yeah, you
All
got to hold
stars
this
on that.
flag and you got to walk with Natalie Portman and making sure like the wind doesn't hit her and doesn't hit the camera. So you'll like make a shield with a double net, so like wind doesn't blow and blow the
Yeah,
camera over and
yeah.
whatnot, so that Steadicam can stay safe. I was so nervous. I was so nervous
Yeah,
because
for
she was like
sure.
saying her lines. I was trying not to
For
look
sure.
at her so
For
I
sure.
didn't mess her up. And
I know, right? Like you're like, oh shoot. But speaking of Natalie Portman, you know, one of my favorite movies by her, you
oh,
know,
the professional.
coincidentally is what Leon the the professional. Yeah, so like I think that could have been like a funny like joke you could have
The
said to her,
professional.
like, oh, you know, my name's Leon, and you know, you were in the
Yeah,
yeah, and I'm a professional, and
I
you
didn't have
know,
no nerves to talk to
but
her
I'm sure
at
you probably
all.
didn't
I
have
was
it.
like,
That was
I'm gonna
a
shut
funny
up
joke.
and just do my job and whatever. But she was a really nice lady, though. She was really nice. She
Yo,
speaks like 6 different languages. Like she's talented.
awesome. What? That's crazy. So really quick, I definitely want to send out some shout outs to the folks that just joined. Shout out to my big sis, my mentor, especially, you know, being in this space of, you know, showing my face on camera. I'm so used to
Yeah,
being behind the camera. I'm sure you can relate, Leon. But shout out to Patrice Camo, big sis. Thank you for joining, and really thank you for the inspiration to really separate my platform. So I usually post a lot of you know, my mentorship advice and informational content on my main page, Madscom Guru. But my mentor, Patrice Camo, she was like, yo, like you gotta,
that's
you
what's
know,
up.
separate it. So definitely shout out to Patrice for that. So yeah, man, and she has a podcast platform called Shades of Content. Folks, check it out. Big shout out to Patrice. So and, you know, and kind of, you know, just kind of you know, continuing to expound upon your accolades. I saw you
Hmm.
did the Poke It Out
Yep,
video,
yep.
Stick It Out, Poke It Out, Wale. So like, and I think that's such a full circle moment to work with someone that's
The DMV.
based
Yeah,
in the, you
Wale.
know, Wale is from the DMVA. Yeah, so kind of talk about that music
Hmm.
video. I know that you worked with Amber on that one. Shout out to Amber, who's a fantastic producer, you know, based here in the DMV area. Like,
Um,
how did that
so
project come about?
Octet Productions ended up calling me, and I've done a few movies with them, and they told me that they had the opportunity to produce
Hmm.
the Poke It Out video, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. I've worked with Wale a few times.
Yep.
I'm down. So they gave me a okay budget to get like the lights and stuff needed for it, and I was like, oh man, J. Cole's gonna be there. So I'm gonna be on my A game for sure. And then funny enough, I didn't get to. They ended up
Hmm.
doing J. Cole's part in Atlanta, but yeah, they asked for like
Oh
from
wow.
art department. I brought in Amber. Like it was like a super dope experience. Mike Wilson even came out to help me as my key grip. Him and St. John came out to help me
Hmm.
light the movie, the music video, and yeah, it was great.
Hmm.
The CC was there. Like it was like the polka dot video was actually a real fun time. We was in the woods. It was like
Hmm.
one of the first times where I got to use
Hmm.
the RE orbiter. Um, and
Oh wow.
yeah,
Oh
like
yeah.
lighting up like 4 scenes at one time, just to, like I was saying, like a
Hmm.
lot of times when productions, just so you move fast, sometimes you gotta light scenes ahead before people get there. So I would like advocate like,
Yeah.
okay, saying we're gonna put lights here, 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 and I would go back on set, and everyone worked with me and got what I needed done. It was a great experience.
For sure, man. I'm happy, man. And that was such a beautiful music video. It was definitely good to see. I mean, I think the music video started. I think y'all were like kind of near the
Hmm.
tidal basin. I think it was some shots like downtown, right? Yeah, I thought that was really cool, you know. And to the point that you mentioned, like being in
Campground,
the
yeah.
woods. I think it was like a like a campfire vibe. And that was fire though, because I remember seeing the BTS for that, and I'm like, yo, like this looks really, really, really good. And I was really excited to see the final product. And speaking of final product, you kind of share with me an exclusive. I got an exclusive sneak peek to like a short film that you directed. You know, you stepped back into the director's chair, and you showed
Uh,
me you know, just
yeah.
the short film Caught. You know, so kind of yeah. So Leon has a short film that's soon to be released. I had a chance to to watch it ahead of our Instagram live, and I loved it. I thought it was a really not no spoilers here, guys. You're gonna have
Thank,
to watch it once it comes out. But I was really impressed
I
by that,
appreciate
and
that.
I
Thank
saw
you.
some
Thank you.
familiar faces. You know, yeah, Cam. I saw Cam. Shout out to Cam. I actually met her working with Leon and
Hmm.
Mrs. Kia and all that. And
Hmm.
phenomenal actress, and someone that Leon collaborates with often. So kind of what was the just paint that picture for us. Like what was like how did the story come about? I did see that you were working with some like all-star talent as well. So kind of tell us about your short film Caught and kind of like what inspired it and just again what you're willing to share with us
So
since it
it
hasn't
came
been released
about
yet.
more so because I originally got in here to produce the film industry to produce, and I felt like I was doing a lot of gaffing, and I felt like I, wanted just to, continue to challenge myself and continue to move forward and just, creating things. And so I called a buddy of mine, Shamsher, who also went to Full Sail, and I asked him, I was like, hey, bro, he's a
Okay.
phenomenal writer. I asked him like, hey man, can you write a short for me to do so I can, get my feet wet again? Like I'm trying to get back into it. And he was like, yeah, absolutely, my man, trusted me with a short that he's been writing for a little minute. And I think he was living in
Okay.
New Orleans at the time. So he didn't even get to like be on set or nothing. He just like full on just gave me faith on it. And then
Oh man.
uh, ended up calling Spencer to shoot. Spencer's a super talented DP. Spencer was like, "Hey man, like I had this perfect location for this." I was like, oh, "Yeah," and then there's a spot called in the Copycat out in Baltimore, with and we ended up shooting
Okay.
using 3 apartment buildings to shoot it to shoot the 2 rooms,
Wow.
and yeah, we did it in 2 6-hour
Yeah.
days.
That's That's crazy. That just kind of goes to show like the power of your network, the power of, your
Hmm.
talent and just most importantly, like getting shit done. Like Leon has always struck me as a person that was like, yo, we're just going to get this done. Like we're going to do what we have, we're going to use what we have and make it happen. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of thought that goes into what we do, but Leon is like a straight shooter. He's the guy that's like, yo, we're going to make it happen. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to really push for efficiency. So yeah, so like just to kind of like shift gears again, again, you are a DMV based creative, kind of like paint that picture of what you kind of see as the DMV landscape as far as like filmmakers. Like how would you, for someone that's not in our area, how would you kind of explain it to
So
someone?
I feel like the DMV is definitely more of a corporate slash doc town, like when it comes to film. And there's a lot of corporate work
Mhm.
because of DC, and then there's a lot of documentaries because a lot of people famous actually come from DMV, and there's like a lot of stories to be told here. But I'm starting to see now like more people are trying to get into the space of doing like narratives out here, and like of course like bigger movies and sets come to town all the time just because you got to get that DC shot right, so they'll be here for like a week or two. um but I'm starting to see like a lot of movies are starting to shoot their whole thing here because I guess like I don't know if necessarily like the incentives are better, but the DMV actually has a lot to offer. Like you can get any location outside of a desert here. You know what I mean? You get woods, you can get
Mhm.
city life, you can get between Baltimore and you need a super gritty looking look, super upscale looking look. All that is here in the DMV between DC, Maryland, Virginia. Like I think that's like a real big part of it, and there's a lot of talent here. Because we're like I said, like a lot of us are
Mhm.
used to working with very little to make things happen, and so we're just able to do
Mhm.
things efficient. Like there's some great art directors here. There's some great uh editors here. There's some great like you can get anything I feel like here, and I feel like that's why
Mhm.
it's been growing like it is. We just gotta like push for these film incentives. So that bigger productions and more productions can film here feel like it's worth it.
Mhm. Cool. So I just have one last question before we get into so we had some folks that chimed in on Instagram and provided some questions that they wanted you to answer. But before we get there, I want to just because I know when we first met, like I think you were like one of the first creators that kind of broke down like what a union was and being union versus non-union. Is that something that you would be willing to kind of share with our audience today? Like, because again, like our audience for this platform are up and coming, aspiring freelancers, creatives. So like for those, like even for myself, like, a year after college, having a background in, more like news and broadcast, not really, having the knowledge in the film industry, would you be able to kind of explain to our
Mhm.
audience, you don't have to go into like a deep dive, but what a union is versus like non-union
Okay, so
when it
like
comes to like film
I would
production?
say when it comes to film production, the union versus non-union unions are usually like there to make sure like you are taken care of on set and you're not mistreated. So they make sure like, everyone's following certain guidelines. You have to get paid a certain rate. You have to make sure like your lunch is at a certain time. Like they're there to make sure to protect the
Mm-hmm.
crew from production in a sense. And depending on where you are, there's like deeper rules and whatnot where you have to, like you may only be able to work on union sets, or you may only,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, pretty much you might only be able to work on union sets. But what's cool about our area is because it's not as many union sets year round, we are free to work on whatever, which I feel like is another benefit of the
Mm-hmm.
DMV and whatnot. So I'm able to hop on union movies,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm also able to just still work on the independent things. And but at the end of the day, I'll say like
Mm-hmm.
the downside maybe about the unions, like they're kind of like the mafia. Uh, like they'll like shoot, don't owe them no money because they will come for you. But at the same
Oh yeah.
time, it's like
Oh
for
man.
good reason. Like they have to, they make sure you're safe. You know what I mean? Like they provide you with health care. There's like a ton of great reasons why you should join the union, and I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. That's smooth, man. Definitely appreciate you for giving that insight. So now we're gonna shift gears, and we have some questions from folks that just want to know a little bit more about you, Leon, and like your process. So we have Seven Hairs, who Danny, my guy Danny, he's a DP
Oh, cool.
photographer. I want to say based up in Baltimore. So Danny asks, what lights slash lighting setups do you always end up using on a
Um,
project?
right now the light I use the most is the light mat. Like I, the light
Yes,
mat usually
yes,
comes with
sir.
me everywhere, or like in a stair tube, just something where I might just have to put something up real quick. But definitely like the light mat is super soft. It
Mhm.
can pretty much go anywhere like at all, and it's easy to rig up. So like I was saying, like with the whole aspect of moving fast and whatnot, I like to be able to move fast if I need to. I think the light mat's like a great source for that, especially if you put like the honeycomb crate on it or something like that. You make it very directional.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd say like that's my top
Mhm.
light and my top go-to tool. And then like the aperture stuff has been kind of getting up there too. I've been using that a lot more, especially like with interviews and whatnot. Aperture's been doing their thing with
Mhm.
all the stuff that they've been releasing.
That's amazing, man. I definitely appreciate you for sharing that. You know what I'm saying? So we have my big bro. We got Matt. I guess this is like an inside joke. So this might go over some folks' heads, and I want to see if you know the answer to this joke, Leon. So I guess this is like a production joke. Matt says, what's a gator, monkey, and gorilla always doing on set with Big Daddy? Do you know the answer
With
to
Big Daddy. No, I don't.
that?
It's probably something.
Yeah, so it definitely went over my head. And
What's
I was
the
hoping that you
answer?
knew the answer because I was like, let me go back to our DM. But I wish he was on the chat because he could explain it better than I can. But yeah, Matt Marshall, he also is a great uh, uh, creative. I met him on set working at the wharf. We did a production for the Atlantic, and he's a part of a few unions. and he kind of was again just kind of sharing that insight like that you shared with me about the
Hmm.
just what is a union versus not being in the union. And definitely shout out to David, great gaffer. We worked together last year. He commented saying that unions protect workers and local 487 represent. So yeah, let me see if I can find that.
It's,
He was he was like I'm just reading the DM. Yeah, he was like, it's funny, it's like the real thing for those that want to be gaffers and grips that are watching. Oh, hold on, sorry, this is something else. If I can't figure it out, I'm just gonna move on. I thought I had the question, but
yeah, I'm super
I'll
curious
follow
about it
with
because
you
it's
with
probably like
that
something like
answer.
with a grip
Yeah,
truck or something. I don't know. It's something.
yeah, yeah. It's all good. So we have my guy Glenn Gordon. Shout out to Glenn. He asked, what does a typical
It
month look
varies
like work
month
wise
to
for you?
month. I like that's hard to call.
Hmm.
Some days I'm busy the whole month. Some days I might only work 2 3 days. Like it's just
Hmm.
it's very
Yeah.
it's random. I don't like I couldn't even call you. That's why like I would
Hmm.
say like savings a big
Hmm.
part of doing the whole
For
freelance thing
sure.
because you just never know sometimes. Like usually
Mhm.
usually winter time is kind of
That's true.
slower. Summertime I'm like might be always busy. I can always usually count on being busy in the summertime. But
Yeah, and touch on that, man, because that's another big thing that I had to learn, and I'm still kind of grappling with this whole phenomenon of slow season. Like slow season typically starts kind of like towards the end of the year, December, around the holidays, and it kind of lingers. Slow season kind of lingers until like maybe early spring. So yeah, so pretty much what Leon said, you really have to prepare, as freelancers, you have to really prepare for those moments, saving. I like, during a slow period, I like to just work on the craft. I might do more spec projects during slow season. So like what are some other ways that you kind of cope and
um
combat slow season?
shoot, during the slow season, I usually work on a lot of indie projects. Like and then that's like a time for me like to have
Hmm.
fun and be creative. I like during if so I'll always say like this is why I tell people like to always hit me up because if I have nothing going on, I am going to probably do your job for whatever rate
Hmm.
it is or whatever it is. Just just to fill up time
Hmm.
or just to have fun and meet
Hmm.
new people. But yeah, usually during the slow season that's what I'm looking to do or I'm in the house playing video games or something. Like I don't um yeah, that's usually how I combat slow season. Like I just try to find like what other people are doing and just see if they really just need help with anything. And like help people with their personal projects
That's true.
or because I'm the type that like wants to it's hard for me to kind of like sit still sometimes. So like I always gotta kind of be doing something a little bit. So
Yeah.
I just like to just keep,
Hmm.
stay sharp and sharpen my skills and work on something.
Hmm. For sure. And I just have one last question from our audience. John Ledbetter, shout out to John, my mentor with Sunchase Media. He asks, what motivates you to pull up on set? Like, I think it's like a two-part. So I guess the first part is like, what motivates you to pull up on set? That's like, or pull up to set. I guess you can answer
Um,
that any way you want.
First most, it's networking, then the money, and then um, trying something new is usually it. Like those are
Hmm.
usually like
That's right.
my three things that definitely will like get me to get out the bed to be like, okay, I'm about to have a day where I know it's like about to be a long day. And I'm like, all right, well, let me just, try to make it positive and whatnot. But it's definitely but what's cool about it too though is like when I'm on set, it don't time goes by so fast, I feel like. And it's just that's how I know I'm like in the right field for me because it doesn't really feel like work.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm. That's fire. That's fire. Definitely appreciate that. And I guess the last part to John's question is, how long do you plan to
I
do this
can't do it
work,
no more
man?
to be honest. I honestly don't know what else I would do. Like maybe like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro. Like I'm in it for the long haul. Like I got it tatted on my arm. Like I'm just this is what
I feel it.
this is me.
Hey,
I'm
tatted.
not yeah, I'm in it for
Yeah,
until I die probably. Even like when I'm old, I might like
for
probably do
sure.
less gaffing jobs, or I might become like the real typical union gaffer that just points and doesn't really do anything. I might get to that field, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think I'm always gonna be in the film industry in some shape or form.
That's fire, man. And yeah, so for those that are just joining, shout out to Matt Capone, shout out to Creative Late, man. Appreciate you for tuning in. Shout out to Laid Back Addy. So again today, I'm talking with Leon Mitchell with an episode called Master of Light. And pretty much so far Leon has talked about his experience not only being a gaffer, but a producer, director, the list goes on. And, you know, having his beginnings at Full Sail and getting that big break and working on some of the shows and movies that we love. So yeah, so we're pretty much like at our closing, I guess, because last time I was talking to Ben, like the live just shut off. I didn't know that like it literally shuts off like
Really?
for an hour, like
Yeah,
however
you taught me
long. I
something.
didn't, we're learning here. But yeah, but yeah, so I definitely wanted to just give a shout out. Shout out T Miller, appreciate you for joining. So I guess like another question I could ask as we close is what would you say makes you unique
Um,
as a
um,
gaffer?
the vibe, definitely the vibe I bring. But nah, I really think like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people like to work with me because especially at first, I wasn't the best gaffer at first, like and I still think there's plenty of people that are that do this like job really well. And I would say like the only thing that like maybe separates me is just like I usually have like a positive attitude. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be there the whole time. Like I'm going to, definitely get the
Mm-hmm.
job done and try to find resourceful ways to get it done for a very cheap price. And I'll throw in a way I got what helped me when I first got in, and shout out to the Washington Source again for this, was whenever people needed things on set, I was able to get things really, really, really cheap because I could bring things from the source for zero
Mm-hmm.
charge. You know what I mean? Or especially if it was like on a weekend, they would just be like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, go ahead, you can take whatever out the shop or whatever. And I pull it with a whole
Mm-hmm.
car full, the rule
Okay.
was whatever you could fit in your car, you could take. So yeah, so I used to just pull
That's
up with
crazy.
the whole shop. Like
Yeah,
I would
man.
sometimes rent something and pull up with gear and for people's production. So people
Yeah.
that stuck with a lot of people. And from there, people would just,
Mm-hmm.
kept calling me and calling me. And then eventually, like, yeah, it got to a point where I just stopped looking for work. I don't really like look for work as much. Like, people just kind of call my phone and I just
Mm-hmm.
book it up on the calendar.
For sure, and that's a blessing, man. Like your reputation definitely speaks, to who you are, and we definitely got some shout outs from the folks who pretty much can attest to your vibe. Like when I met you, like you definitely, I don't think I've ever seen you like angry or upset. Like when we worked back in 2019, like you were always like optimistic, cracking jokes, making everybody feel comfortable, and I think that's just so imperative being in this industry. I definitely have heard from a lot of OGs that like, are you
Right.
able to, can I work with you for a 12-hour day? Like, I think that's kind of like a running a phrase. And I think it's important, and not to mention again, like how resourceful you are. Like, you had your connection with the Washington Source. And I think that's just like, it goes to like your professionalism and your market, being marketable, which is very important. And I feel like a lot of freelancers and creatives should, keep that in mind as they're like advocating for themselves and, putting themselves out there. Like, are you resourceful? Are you a pleasure to work with on set? Like, are you not weird? These things are like, super important. And, yeah, so real quick, so create to relate, what's going on? So yeah, Leon was able to touch on the union versus non-union. Pretty much unions protect workers and stuff like that. But
I wish
we'll
I
definitely
could see the
I can
comments.
follow
It's
up
like
with you to
froze on
give
my
more
end.
information on that.
But yeah, I would,
Oh shoot.
answer if anyone's asking anything. Um,
Yeah. So how about this? For those who weren't able, for those that are watching right now, who who weren't able to answer, who weren't able to ask Leon any questions.
Yeah,
Leon, are you comfortable
absolutely,
with folks just shooting you a
absolutely.
DM? Um, yeah, yeah, definitely shoot Leon a DM, and we're also gonna make like IG reels of the episodes, so we can like have those short clips that we can share amongst our colleagues.
Thank
But
you for
yeah,
having
Leon,
me.
it's been a
I
great
appreciate it.
talk with you. But for sure. But before we close, like I guess any last words, any advice, any information that you're willing to share, our audience. What's
Um,
something that you
I
want to
think
kind
like
of leave
the
folks with?
most important thing was what I was telling you. Wes told me was learn one thing on set every day. I think that's the best thing, and just remember that. And then if anyone, yeah, like you said, like I'll never, because I know how hard it can be to kind of like get into the field, and sometimes you feel like you're not getting to where you want to go and stuff like that. So like I never turn away anyone that asks me like, hey, how can I get on set? Like
Mhm.
yeah, I usually will always try to like figure out something for you or give you some sort of advice, or if I'm not able to help you directly right
Mhm.
then, like figure
Mhm.
something out. So that, yeah,
Mhm.
if you guys like have any questions or just need help with anything, just shoot me a DM and whatnot, and yeah, we just go from there.
Mhm.
Hey, Jabari,
All right, man.
thank you, my
Appreciate you,
friend.
Leon. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday. All right, all right, all right. And there you have it, folks. Master of Light. We talked to the man himself. You heard it here first. Leon Mitchell, man. Oh yeah, another thing. So when does your short film that you
So I'm
directed
putting
come
it, it's
out?
in
When does that come
the
out?
film festival circuit right now. Just submitted it to a bunch of stuff. So honestly, I'm not 100% sure. So that short I showed you is actually is part of a bigger thing we're trying to do. We're trying to make a working with Kia and Amber to make anthology series. And it's like in
Oh
short it's
wow.
about a group of witches that come together and they tell these stories to rebuild the universe. And that's it in a so
Oh
it's like
wow.
a bigger
Yeah.
project. I'm just like releasing the short just because I wanted to put some stuff out
Mm,
there and start kind of like, wanting people to see it and get feedback and whatnot. But yeah, that's just a general idea for it. So I don't really
yeah.
have a set date for it, but we'll see.
I got you. Just tell
If y'all do
tell
want to
folks to
see it, just
stay
DM me. I'll
tuned,
show
and
it to you.
and
Like
this hopefully this could.
I have no problem showing the short. Like
Oh, that's fine.
it's just yeah, it's just not up on anywhere. But I'll send it to you if y'all want to see it. I would love the feedback and know what people think about it. But yeah,
Mm, mm. For sure, and then also let Leon definitely let me know how I can help and contribute to that. I know I have some folks asking whether it be a screening in the DMV, stuff like that. We'll definitely. I'm
hmm
sure you'll share and give those details out. But make sure folks follow Leon, on his journey, to greatness. I mean, he's already great, but just stay tuned to his journey, man, and we'll definitely have the recap of this. I'll add it to my page shortly after we go off live. But that's pretty much
thank you,
it.
man. Thanks for
Master of
having me,
Light.
boss.
Appreciate you,
And
bro.
I'll see you soon, right? Like,
All right.
let me know you out here doing your thing. You
Yeah,
doing
see
your
you.
thing. I'm like, you'll never call.
Oh,
You'll
I'm
never hit me
trying.
up.
I'm trying. Oh, nah, it's not like that, man. It's not like that, man. But yeah, man, we'll definitely be in touch, y'all.
All
And
right, guys.
appreciate y'all for watching.